Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be doing a character build about, according to the statistics from D&D Beyond, the least popular class. And honestly, it might be the least popular because it's a complicated class to play. The Druid. Druids are nature's spellcasters, and they are, quite honestly, one of the most interesting type of characters to play as. You get a ton of powers as a druid, both through your wild shape and your spell casting. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, aren't I? A build of a druid starts at the beginning, with your ancestry or with your race. For this one, I've chosen the Furbolg race. Furbolgs are kind of what you'd get if you took a giant and a fairy and put them into a blender. They are large, well, they're medium-sized creatures, but they're quite tall, 7 or 8 feet tall. Same size as a Goliath, really. But they are Fey type creatures, and they have a couple of powers to boot. Furbolg magic, which gives them a couple extra once per day spells. Detect magic and disguise self that they get, which they can cast once per day for free. So real good stuff there. Detect magic is just good for, utility purposes, and disguise self, they even get a powerful version where they can change their form more than the average creature can. They can make themselves appear normal sized. They also get hidden step, which is a once per day teleport that they can use for free, and it makes them invisible. And then the powerful build feature, which means they count for one size larger when they are doing strength-based things like lifting, pulling, and pushing. And finally, the speech of beast and leaf, which allows them to communicate simple ideas to both animals and plants, although the creatures don't have the power to talk back. But it is cool that you could talk to a flower and it literally can understand you. Very cool concept. As far as the background for this character, I made them a sage, a person who grabs some skill proficiencies in the intelligence-based skills and some extra languages, as well as the researcher feat. The idea that a sage, if they have a question that they can't answer, they know where the answer is in a library or a university or some ancient wizard who knows the answer. The sage will likely know where to find it. Now, as far as our class goes, like I said, we're going to be a druid. At level 1, druids get their saving throw proficiencies in intelligence and wisdom. They get some skill proficiencies. Between my background and my druid, I've chosen animal handling, arcana, history, and nature. They get proficiency in several simple weapons as well as scimitars, a druid staple. As well as light and medium armor and shields. But there's a caveat that druids will not use or wear metal armor. A lot of DMs just kind of hand wave this, but rules as written, a druid won't wear anything metal, so I've thrown them in leather armor and given them a wooden shield, as well as a scimitar to carry at their side. Not that they're going to use it much, but having a weapon and some armor is nice. As far as stats go, I've chosen point buy, as I usually do. I've started off with a 14 in their wisdom, giving them the +2 there, and a 13 in their constitution and the +1 there, totaling a 14, as well as a natural 14 in dexterity, a 12 in intelligence, and then a 10 in their charisma and their strength. Between their leather armor and their dexterity modifier and their shield, they've got an AC of 15, a speed of 30 feet, and with their +2 to constitution and their d8 hit die, that gives them 10 hit points to start. The other thing they get at level 1 is spellcasting. Druids do in fact get to cast spells right away from the start. They're wisdom-based casters. They get just 2 cantrips to begin. I've chosen Guidance, which is one of the best cantrips in the game for utility purposes. Before you do an ability check, you can grant yourself or an ally a d4 to add to that ability check. Basically, at will. You just gotta think to do it before you do the thing. And then I grabbed Thorn Whip, which is an attack-based cantrip that you lash out with an attack roll and do 1d6 piercing damage, and you can pull creatures towards you 10 feet as well. And then I chose their first level spells. They get their wisdom modifier plus their level in spells, and that would be 4 in this case. I chose Goodberry, which creates magical food that can both heal and feed people. Fairy Fire, which is a concentration spell that you use in combat to mark enemies and give you advantage against them. Healing Word, which is a bonus action heal. Best healing spell for level 1, gets your enemies up in an emergency. And I also grabbed Entangle, which you can use to restrain people. All these are, good spells for druids to take. So for level 1, we're dealing with spell attack bonus of 5 and the spell Thorn Whip, as well as the spell Fairy Fire. That's our strategy going into combat. Cast Fairy Fire on the first turn, mark our enemies, and then start Thorn Whipping away while keeping ourselves safe with our shield. Against the CR 1/4 creature, we would have a 90% chance to hit, assuming they were marked with Fairy Fire. We'd only do an average of 4 damage. Thorn Whip's not a super strong spell, so it would take us like 11 rounds to kill our enemies, but the Fairy Fire is nice to help our allies hit them as well. Against the CR 1 creature, same hit chance, 90%, 4 damage. It would take 19 rounds to kill a creature that big with just a CR, just us. So it's good that we've got our allies to lean into. Defensively, on the other hand, with only 10 hit points and a 15 armor class, a CR 1/4 creature has a 40% chance to hit us. They will do an average of 5 damage, means that it'll only take 2 rounds to kill us. A CR 1 creature, same 40% chance to hit, an average of 12 damage, which means they would just one-shot us. So a druid at level 1 is not going to be tanking anything. But that's about to change. Because as we move on to level 2, druids get a couple things. First off, they get Wild Shape, which allows them to transform into beasts. Any druid can do this, and they get 2 uses of it per short rest, so they can do this relatively frequently. You transform into a creature of 1/4 CR. Classic staple for this would be a wolf. Transforming into a wolf. You get the hit points of the creature, and when you get attacked, the hit points of the creature go down, but yours don't. Your gear can either merge into your body or just be dropped, or technically it could be worn if it's fitted for a creature, but I'm not going to assume that. I'm just going to assume it melds into you. And then you get the creature's abilities, like Pack Tactics if you're a wolf, and the Bite Attack, and the Pounce, and all that. So all the cool stuff that wolves get. But what's cool about this is that you also get to choose your subclass at level 2. And I have chosen the Moon Druid. The Circle of the Moon Druid gets, they get Combat Wild Shape. Normally Wild Shape takes an action to shift. Combat Wild Shape allows you to do it as a bonus action. Another thing about being Wild Shaped is while you're in animal form, although you can concentrate on a spell that's active, you can't cast any spells. So druids usually like to lay down a concentration spell, then Wild Shape. The Combat Wild Shape allows you to spend your spell slots to heal yourself, so you still get some use out of them while you're Wild Shaped. The other thing you get is circle forms, and this makes you able to transform into more powerful creatures, up to CR 1, which is a big upgrade. Normally, druids have to wait till level 8 to get forms that strong, but the Moon Druid gets them straight away from level 2. Now you can transform into a brown bear with over 30 hit points, a multi-attack where you get to claw and bite. You get some pretty strong abilities as a Moon Druid. A lot of people think that Moon Druids are the most broken class you can play at level 2. And to further that, I'm moving into level 3 now, and druids get 2nd level spells. Because druids are prepared casters, you can prepare different spells as you move on, so you can drop some 1st level spells, pick up some 2nd level ones at will, basically. Some of the ones I focused on here are Misty Step. Oh wait, not Misty Step, I'm sorry. Misty Step comes later. Spoilers. Hold Person is one that I've chosen here. Moonbeam is another one. Spike Growth. These are all control spells. Hold Person paralyzes a creature against a saving throw. Moonbeam causes an area of effect that you can push creatures into and they take the radiant damage of the moon. Spike Growth causes an area of spikes which you can push creatures into or drag them through, and they take automatic damage, no saving throw with that one. But the main spell we're focused on here is Summon Beast, Atasha's spell, which allows you to summon a bestial companion. So now, not only do you have a beast, which can be any form you like, they have their own stat block, but you also are a beast. So at level 3, our combat tactic is this. We summon our beast, which is a concentration spell, and then we bonus action combat wild shape into a bear. We are now ordering our beast to attack the same target as us. It has pack tactics, we don't. Because we're concentrating on it, we've lost Fairy Fire, but we're still making a claw and a bite attack. Our hit points are the bear's hit points, and then once we drop to 0 hit points in the bear form, we go back to our druid form and continue fighting. We could wild shape again in theory, or we can just, use our thorn whip while our beast companion continues fighting. Against a CR1 creature using this strategy, the beast has a 90% chance to hit thanks to pack tactics. We have a 70% chance to hit thanks to our bear form. On average, the two of us working together are going to do 30 damage, which against a CR1 creature can kill them in 3 rounds, which is really fast. Then against a CR3 creature, the hit chances are the same, 90% for our beast, 70% for us. Doing an average of 30 damage, we can kill them in 4 rounds. So we're really, really strong at this point. Defensively speaking, a CR1 creature would have a 60% chance to hit us in our bear form since our AC is lower. It's only 11. But then once we pop back into druid form, that hit chance goes to 40%. And this is assuming they aren't attacking our beast. This is assuming they're just attacking us. Average damage is 12. Our wild shape would last 3 rounds, and then our druid form would last another 2 for a total of 5 until we died. A CR3 creature would have a 65% chance to hit us in bear form, 45% chance in druid form. Average damage of 24. The bear form would last 2 rounds, and our druid form would last 1 for a total of 3. So we're still not going toe-to-toe with the boss monsters and one-on-oneing them, but we're very tough. And this is assuming we don't wild shape a second time in one combat, which we totally could. Now at level 4, we get ourselves an ability score increase or feat, and as you may have guessed, I did in fact grab the Fey Touched feat from Tasha's. It gives us a +1 to Wisdom, which technically doesn't boost our Wisdom modifier, it just goes up to 17, so it's still +3. But it does grant us spells. I chose the Bless spell as my first level spell, not because I'm planning on using it in combat, but just because it's a great buff to have in the event that you're not going to be summoning a beast and transforming. And then I also grabbed Misty Step, which allows you to teleport as a bonus action. Then finally, at level 5, you get your 3rd level spells. I grabbed Dispel Magic from the list, and I let Summon Beast go, because it turns out there's a more powerful beast summoning spell at level 3rd level spells, and that is Conjure Animals from the Player's Handbook. A word of warning. Conjure Animals is a completely broken spell. It's really, really powerful, but it also bogs the game down, and here's why. When you cast Conjure Animals, you concentrate on it for an hour, just like the summon spell, but you summon a bunch of animals. You can either summon 1 animal of CR2, 2 animals of CR1, 4 animals of CR1/2, or 8 animals of CR1/4, which is the most powerful thing you can do. 8 CR1/4 animals. So you could, in theory, summon up a pack of 8 wolves. And that is the math I've done here. I assume in combat you're going to be casting Conjure Animals as your action, summoning a pack of 8 wolves. And then you're going to be combat wild shaping into a bear again, because your forms haven't gotten more powerful. They will later, but as of right now, you're still with CR1 creatures. So that means you're going to be commanding all your animals to attack. So you'll just have a circle of 9 creatures, 8 wolves pack-tacting themselves to victory, and you as a bear. It's ridiculously powerful, but it makes the game slow because you're controlling 9 creatures, which is probably more creatures than the Dungeon Master is controlling at this point. So, you know, a lot of Dungeon Masters don't like this spell. Talk to them before you use it, and if they don't want you to use it, just keep using Summon Beast, upcast it perhaps, and then turn into a bear and just go to town like you did before. But assuming that you can use Conjure Animals, because it is in the player's handbook. Against a CR2 enemy, the Conjured Wolves have an 85% chance to hit. Each of them do, thanks to Pack Tactics. And you have a 70% chance to hit thanks to your bear form. On average, assuming everyone hits, assuming all creatures hit with their attacks, you're going to be doing 76 damage a round. Now, obviously, some of the wolves might miss. You might miss. But 76 damage from all these 9 creatures on the field, including you, that's a lot of damage. That's ridiculous. You can kill a CR2 creature in 2 rounds like this. And funnily enough, a CR5 creature, you have a 75% chance for your wolves to hit and a 60% chance for your bear form to hit, but you're still doing 76 damage. You can still kill them in 2 rounds with that much damage. It's 2 or 5. Defensively, a CR2 creature has a 60% chance to hit you. I'm assuming they're not attacking your wolves. I'm assuming they're attacking you. And then a 40% chance to hit you when you pop back into Druid form. They'll do an average of 18 damage, which at this point, because you have 38 hit points in your Druid form, and then the 34 from the bear form, they'll take 4 rounds to kill you. A CR5 creature, which is basically a boss monster, has a 75% chance to hit you in your bear form, 55% chance in Druid form. They do 36 damage per round, meaning they can kill you in 2 rounds. But you can also kill them in 2 rounds if all of your wolves hit with their attacks. So yeah, once you start mixing together the packs of animals you can summon with Conjure Animals and the powerful wild shape forms you can become, the Druid becomes one of the greatest characters in the game. They're just hard to play. You try controlling 9 creatures on the battlefield. Even DMs struggle to do that. And you're a player trying to command a Druid. The other players, the fighter, the barbarian, the cleric, the rogue, the wizard, they're waiting for their turn while you're rolling 9, 10 attacks. It takes a while. And, but as far as the numbers go, it's one of the most powerful things you can do in the game and really can just command the entire battlefield. So talk to your DM, talk to the players at your table, whether you're summoning 1 beast or 8, whether you're transforming into a bear or a wolf or a giant spider or a giant crab or a giant hyena, or there's a lot of different animals you can transform into with wild shape, and you get more powerful forms as you level up. Moon Druids are really strong, and they get stronger as they go. Their magic continues to get strong, and if you can stand the intensity of all of those creatures on the battlefield, I highly recommend giving the Moon Druid a try. It's not for beginners, but it is very, very powerful. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and also consider becoming a member of the channel. Recently, we got memberships on the channel. For $1 a month, you can get a nice little icon next to your comments and lets me know who supports the channel. You'll have my undying gratitude as well as priority in my answers for the comments. But yeah, thanks for coming and have a good one, my friends.